Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Inside Sports with Rashad Mitchell, episode number 68. We'll be back once again for another episode in September. Sorry for the background. I'm having difficulty changing the background. It's a different background than my name. The title of my show is not up there, but I'm having difficulty getting that done. But it's still the Rashad Mitchell show. Still Inside Sports with Rashad Mitchell, episode number 68. Just get into it, man. We're gonna get into the college football. A lot to cover with that. Last week was not that eventful. But we did have a few upsets that took place last week. Get into that. Get into the college football. Looking forward. Got some pretty good games this week, much better than last week. And then you want to have talk about the NFL Week One. How about that game between Baltimore and Buffalo? That was a shootout for the ages. Adam Ben's coming down to that, but great job by Buffalo coming back, win that game. Then get into what else they have on the docket as far as that's concerned. 'Cause there's a lot to cover that I want to talk about. What's the lineup of today's show? Yeah, remembering George Raveling. He passed away. He was the head coach in the college profession. I think remembering George Raveling. You know, Davey Johnson was a great manager for the Mets, maybe the best Mets manager ever to manage the Mets. I mean, he turned that team to success. They could have won more championships. We're gonna go over that in on this day in sports history for September 11th. Right, so let's get into the football from last week. Not that many great games, but you did have some upsets. I think this upset that stood out last week, without question, was South Florida beating Florida. That game definitely resonates when you talk about upsets from last week in college football. That's the thing about when you don't have that many great games on the docket, you're always gonna have some upsets. And you had a couple of upsets, three upsets actually last week in the top 25. And one of them that stood out without question was University of Florida, the 13th ranked team losing to South Florida 18-16. You know, that was a huge upset. South Florida is definitely for real. They play Miami this coming Saturday. So they've been beating some good teams. They beat Boise State to start the season. And now this past week they beat Florida. Nico Romanica hit a game-winning field goal, 20 yards out as time expired, and a big-time win for that program. But they're gonna be tested more against the Hurricane team that's playing very well. As they played Bethune-Cookman at the beating University of Notre Dame, they 2-0. And you look at Garza is playing very well, so they're gonna be tested against the Bulls. So they ranked in the top 25. Also, South Florida became the third unranked team since 2000 start 2-0 by beating two ranked teams, joining 2012 Oregon State and 2008 East Carolina. And for Florida, their big issue is more than just DJ Lagway's rust, but it's the offensive line. They allowed too much pressure and they failed to create enough holes against South Florida. So South Florida play against Miami. They beat the Bulls' third consecutive game against a ranked team. So see if they can do that. Hopefully another upset. I don't see that happening. I think Miami will beat South Florida, as far as I'm concerned. Other notable upsets. Also, you had the Michigan Oklahoma game. That game was like the best game of the week. But it's all about Oklahoma. Oklahoma deserved to win that game. They was able to win that game 24-13. Not a great game to watch, but it's all Oklahoma. Oklahoma was the bad team. Simple as that. So Clemson actually struggled against Troy. Ball teams, they were down 16-3 in the first half. But they scored 24 unanswered points in the second half and won 27-16. Also, you had Arizona State get upset by Mississippi State 24-20. That was an upset. SMU lost in double overtime as a 17th ranked team to Baylor. That was an upset. So let's move forward to this week's games. We got some good games as far as ranked opponents against a ranked opponent. We're gonna start with Georgia versus Tennessee. Number 6 Georgia versus number 15 Tennessee. Both teams are unbeaten at 2-0 in Tennessee. in Knoxville, Tennessee. And at 4:30, you got South Florida traveling to Miami. You got that going on. Then you have a very good game, not ranked point was ranked point, but Florida against LSU. See how they recovered from that upset last week against South Florida. Florida plays at LSU, tough game. You got Notre Dame, number 18 in the country, hosting number 16 Texas A&M. So those are interesting games. I think Miami will beat South Florida. I think Georgia will beat Tennessee. I think LSU gonna beat Florida. I think Florida's just a willing team. They're gonna lose to Miami. If some guy gives, it's Florida, but I don't think they're gonna beat LSU. I think Notre Dame will bounce back and win against Texas A&M. The loss to Miami. So that's it for that. Moving forward, as far as the games are concerned this week in college football. All right, let's get to the National Football League. Get to the pros, the professional league. The NFL. Right now, currently, you got Thursday night football for week 2. You got Green Bay beating Washington right now, 7-0. In the first quarter, 1:20 to go. Green Bay has the ball at their own 20-yard lines, facing the third down at 14. Now it's fourth down and 40 seconds to go. So Green Bay's been in charge of this game so far in this first quarter. Okay, let's review what happened last week. The Cowboys lost a game that they could have won against the Eagles. They had a chance to win that game, but the drops by CeeDee Lamb hurt the Cowboys' chances. Also, they had a weather delay that kind of took the team off out of rhythm in a sense. But Jalen Hurts played well, ran for 2 touchdowns. Obviously, the game was kind of marred by Jalen Carter's spitting on Dak Prescott. They had a weather delay. Game ended at 12:18 p.m. 12:18 a.m. Excuse me. And the Eagles won 24-20. Did what they had to do, and Hurts had so much time to like maneuver in the pocket and run around and scramble. So he was able to win that game. So they're 1-0. But the Cowboys had a lot, opportunities, man. Just that the culprit in this game definitely was CeeDee Lamb with the drops. He had a chance to make some plays, but I think the drops in that game hurt the Cowboys offense. That person played pretty good. They played pretty good, but I think the drop passes by CeeDee Lamb hurt the Cowboys offense from being effective. They could have won. Yeah, the pivotal catch that he could have made. There's like 3 catches that he missed out on. Then you had the Chiefs. They lose to the Chargers. Big win for the Chargers, 27-21. Chiefs look like themselves, man. They look like themselves. Herbert played very well. He get his numbers. They won 27-21 in Brazil. Herbert played very well. 25 of 34, 318 yards, 3 touchdown passes. Did his thing. They beat the Chiefs, 27-21. Now the Chiefs will play the Eagles this coming Sunday. That's going to be an interesting game. Then we go to Sunday's games. The Buccaneers beat the Falcons 23-20. Baker Mayfield continues to play at a high level. This is a close one. 3 touchdown passes. That's all that need to be said about that. Emeka Ibuka had 2 touchdown catches. So that was a big win for them. The Bengals barely beat the Browns 17-16. This was a shocker, man. The Colts beat the Dolphins 33-8. Daniel Jones played very well, snapping the 11-game opening day winning streak for the Colts. He threw. Let's look at his numbers: 272 yards, 22 out of 29. Played very well, Jones. And Taylor ran for 71 yards on 18 carries. The Raiders beat the Patriots 20-13. The Cardinals beat the Saints 20-13. How about the Steelers and the Jets? That was a great game. Probably the second best game, 34-32. Rodgers showed that he's back, to his usual self. He had 4 touchdown passes. So he definitely showed that he has not lost a step. See how that progresses. The Giants continue to struggle offensively. The Giants, for the third consecutive season opener, have not scored an offensive touchdown. 3 consecutive season openers going back to 2023. They lost to Dallas Cowboys 40-0. Then last year in 24, they lost 28-6 to, I believe, to the Minnesota Vikings. Now they lose 21-6. So the offense continues to struggle to start the season. Well, as the season openers, that's a crazy stat. It's terrible. Terrible. I mean, New York has lost its last 3 openers by combined 89-12. This was actually the closer of the 3. The Giants lost 28-6 to Minnesota last year and 49 to Dallas in 2023. But the Giants' common denominator, they have not scored an offensive touchdown. Those are just games where they, kick field goals in that 2 games. I mean, that game against Minnesota, they were shut out against Dallas. They kick 2 field goals in this game. So that's not good enough for the Giants. Same old Giants, not doing anything on offense. They don't have that many weapons, man. Defense plays solid. Half a sack for Ducard, that's good for him. Thibodeau had a half sack, a couple sacks for Brian Burns, but his offensive line just not that good. Then you're gonna start hearing if things don't seem to be progressive offensively for the Giants. You may hear a lot from the fans, from the media in New York, New Jersey area, for Jackson Dart to be playing. See what happens. They play Dallas this week. See what happens. Panthers lost to the Jaguars 26-10. Broncos beat the Titans 20-12. 49ers beat the Seattle 17-13. The Packers played well. Michael Parsons' debut had a sack. They shut down the Lions 27-13. So impressive win to start for the Green Bay. And then you had the Rams, defensive battle between the Rams and the Texans. They won 14-9 in favor of the Rams as Matthew Stafford tops the 60,000 passing yards milestone. Congrats to him. And then finally, game of the day, of the week, by a landslide, the Ravens and the Bills. I mean, this is classic Baltimore Ravens just don't know how to handle leads. It's not good, but give credit to Josh Allen. They rallied to score 16 points in the last 4 minutes. They were down 15 points twice, 34-19, and then down 40-25, and still lose the game. Give credit to Josh Allen threw 10-yard pass to Keon Coleman for a touchdown to make it 40-32. Then Josh Allen scored on a touchdown run and then kicked the field goal to win it. It's a bad loss. And the thing that stands out, even though Buffalo won the game, they got to get better on defense, especially Baltimore. They got to play better on defense. They want to win a Super Bowl. Both these teams are very talented, especially Baltimore. They got a lot of talent. Very talented. But Allen played great, man. 33 out of 36, 394 yards, 2 touchdowns. He earned a 77th win. He tied Joe Ferguson for the second on the Bills list. They got to get better on defense. They want to really, win the Super Bowl. Simple as that. You got to play defense in this league. You got to play defense. Henry had a big game despite losing the game. Zay Flower played great, 7 catches for 143 yards and a touchdown, but doesn't mean nothing if you don't win. But a bigger time win for Buffalo. Both these teams definitely play each other in the postseason. All right, so let's move forward to week 2 of the NFL. Let's look at the games. Obviously, got the game going on right now in the second quarter. 12:40 to go in the first half. In the second quarter, Washington has the ball facing a 3rd down and 9 at the Green Bay 43. Green Bay leads 7-0. That came about, and Jordan Love threw a touchdown pass to Romeo Dobbs. I think that's his last name. Went on a 7-play, 96-yard drive. So not bad start for the Green Bay. Let's look at the games that's going to be played this week. Stands out. Okay, you got Jacksonville and Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati should win this game. Dallas and the Giants must win for both teams. Both teams are 0-1. Detroit and Chicago. Yeah, I forgot. Chicago and Minnesota played on Monday night. And Chicago was up 17-6. They got out to a pretty good start, but give credit to JJ McCarthy, new quarterback. He led them back. Threw a touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson. Do a touchdown pass. He rallied the team back. He was able to win. 143 yards passed for J.J. McCarthy, not spectacular. 13 or 20, but he did throw 2 touchdown passes. But that's a bad loss for Chicago because they was up 17-6 in the third quarter. So give credit to McCarthy. He played pretty good in the second half. Right, Chicago plays Detroit this week. That's an interesting game because now Ben Johnson, the coach of the Chicago, is going to be facing his former team. He was the offensive coordinator when he was with Detroit, so he's coming back to face his former team. So that's going to be an interesting game. He's a former offensive coordinator. He's with Detroit, so he's coming back to Detroit, so that's going to be an interesting matchup. Interesting game. I think Detroit should win that game. Rams and the Titans. I think Rams will win that game. Patriots and the Dolphins. Expect Dolphins to bounce back. The Saints and the 49ers. I'm going with the 49ers. Bills and Jets. I'm going with the Bills. Jets played very well on offense against the Steelers. Will they do that against the Bills? I won't be surprised. I mean, the Jets played very well on defense. I mean, played well on offense against the Steelers. And the Bills' defense is not that good. Seahawks and the Steelers. Interesting game. DK Metcalf be facing his former team. He's with the Seahawks. So that's going to be interesting. It says right here that DK Metcalf downplays facing the former team at Steelers prepared for the Seahawks. You don't think it's a big deal, like people are making it. See what happens. All right, so keep moving. Got the Browns and the Ravens. Expect the Ravens to bounce back. Hosting the Broncos. I'm going with the Broncos. Panthers and the Cardinals. Go with the Cardinals. Then you got the matchup, the Super Bowl rematch last year. Eagles and the Chiefs, 4:25 p.m. at Fox. Going with the Chiefs, man. This is a must win. I'm going with the Chiefs. I think they're going to be very amped up. So I'm going with the Chiefs. Then you got the Sunday Night Football Falcons and the Vikings. Go with the Vikings. You got a couple of games on Monday night. Buccaneers and the Texans. That's a good game. And the Chargers and the Raiders, a pretty good game. I go with the Texans to win on Monday night, and I go with the Chargers. I'd be shocked if the Raiders win, but go with the Chargers to go 2-0. All right, let's get into George Raveling. He passed away, fortunately, at age 88. He was very instrumental with Michael Jordan. He was like a Nike exec as well, not just a head coach. He convinced Michael Jordan to join Nike. So without George Raveling, there wouldn't be Michael Jordan joining Nike. He's known as a coach. He played for Villanova near Philadelphia, played basketball for the Wildcats, played for the Philadelphia Warriors in the eighth round, pick 7 in the 1960 NBA draft. Also, George Raveling asked Dr. King, Martin Luther King, at the I Have a Dream speech, August 28th, 1963, excuse me, if he could have the speech, and King had it, Raveling the original typewritten I Have a Dream pages. Raveling was on the podium with King at that moment, having volunteered to provide security. As a coach, he coached Western State, coached at Iowa, he coached also he recruited B.J. Armstrong, Kevin Gamble, Ed Horton, Roy Marble, and Greg Stokes. Then he coached from 1986 to 1994, USC. Coaching U.S. Olympic teams. But he was a global ambassador, global basketball director, sports marketing director from 1984 until his death. Also, he was instrumental in Michael Jordan signed with Nike in 1984. So without George Raveling, it wouldn't be no Michael Jordan brand. It was for him. He convinced Michael to sign with Nike. So rest in peace to George Raveling. Then Davey Johnson, manager, was a great manager, played great player, did his thing for the Baltimore Orioles for that dynasty. He won 4 American League pennants. He had 2 championships. He was part of that. Played from 1965 1975. 2 seasons with the Nippon professional baseball, and then he returned to the Major League Baseball, played with the Phillies and the Cubs. A 3-time Rollins Gold Glove Award winner. Was in the All-Star game 4 times during his playing career. 136 home runs, not Hall of Famer, but make case he's a Hall of Fame manager. He had 1,372 wins and 1,071 losses. His claim to fame, his best success, was definitely with the Mets. Winning the championship in '86, managed the Reds, the Orioles, the Dodgers, and the Nationals. But what he did with the Mets was very successful. They should have won more. He had success with the Orioles in 1997 Manager of the Year. Led the Warriors to wide American League East Division Championship. He won the same award in 2012 with the Nationals. So where he went, he was very successful. And also, he's a pioneer, a proponent of the Saber Matrix, because he was a math major at Trinity University. He taught himself computer programming in the 70s and used statistical simulations to analyze player performance and optimize lineups. His nickname was Dum Dum by advising pitchers to the challenge hitters by throwing more strikes over the middle of the plate based on his data-driven approach. So he created computer printouts suggesting lineup strategy for Earl Weaver, although Weaver chose not to use them. So he's ahead of his time by the cyber matrix aspect of things. On base percentage, he was great at that. Favorable platoon matchups long before methods gained mainstream acceptance in Major League Baseball. So he's very analytical before it became fashionable. He's part of the A16 Mets team that won the World Series. That Mets team could have won more championships. They were so talented. Darryl Strawberry, Doc Gooden, Gary Carter, um, guys like that. And he's the winningest manager in Mets history. So he's all time great. Did his thing because yeah, so much talent. Lenny Dykstra, um, so much talent. Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez. That team was loaded. They could have won more than the one championship that they won. So rest in peace to him, David Johnson. All right, let's get into Honest Day in sports history for September 11th. Go over every event, go over some. First one, we're going to start with 1912, September 11th. Philadelphia second baseman Eddie Collins stole Major League Baseball record of 6 bases in the Athletics 9-7 win over the Detroit Tigers at Navin Field. 1923, Bernie Nays. I was saying his last name. Like, hit the one Dodger home run. Babe Ruth on September 11th hit his 50th home run during the Major League Baseball record 60 home run season. In New York 6-2 loss to St. Louis Browns at Yankee Stadium. 1951 on September 11th, Florence Chadwick became the first woman to swim the English Channel from England to France, taking 16 hours and 19 minutes. Frank Robinson, 1956, was with the Cincinnati Reds as outfielder, tied the rookie record with his 38th home run. Yogi Berra tied career record for home runs by a catcher in 236 home runs in 1956. Elroy Faces' 22-game winning streak ends as Dodgers beat the Pirates 5-4 September 11th, 1959. Johnny Miller became the first New York Yankee 1966 on September 11th to hit a home run in his first Major League Baseball at bat. And his second home run comes in his final Major League at bat baseball in 1969. September 11th, 1985, the late great Pete Rose of the Cincinnati Reds got his career hit 4,192 off Eric's show. I think show or snow of the San Diego Padres clips and Ty Cobb's record. I think that's basically it. All right, that's it for today. Yeah, I think it's Eric's show. Yeah, he the one that gave that hit. In fact, he passed away back in 1994. He was only 37. Yeah, Eric's show. He's the guy that Serenity hit on this day, September 11th, actually 40 years ago, 1985. Pete Rose hit his record-breaking 4,192 4,192nd career hit. No, surpassing Ty Cobb in 1985. So that happened on that day. All right, so that's it, man, for tonight. Check out my recent article on e5280sports.com. Check that out. If you want to get into it. Today's article, a recap, college football week number one, and looked at week two preview of the college football season, week one preview predictions and stuff like that. So be on the next lookout. The next issue is coming soon. So that's it for tonight, man. Episode number 68, 68th episode. Be back for next Thursday, episode number 69. So until then, talk to you next time. For Inside Sports with Rashad Mitchell, episode number 69 will be next week. This concludes episode number 68 of Inside Sports with Rashad Mitchell. Streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and Facebook, and YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. That's what these platforms is on. The show is on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. From Elevation 52A Sports and Lifestyles presents Inside Sports with Rashad Mitchell. Until then, talk to you next time, next Thursday night. Good night.
Things should turn off their radios. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on the air, you're about to hear an instrument made famous by tonight's play, immortalized by the
traditional keyboard. Different instrument sounds is what music is all about. It's what music has always been about. From early choirs to contemporary multi-track recordings, you can record your music one track at a time using Max's onboard digital recorder.
Let me give you an example of how Max lets you build your own multi-sound song arrangements. On track 1, we'll put down a simple rhythm line. Let's add to that a bright electric